What's up everyone? In this video we're going to be building out the About section on the property details screen. So let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is come down here and just add a divider underneath our pricing and floor plan section. Divider. And we'll give it the style of styles.divider. And then next I'm going to go into my properties and add some new fields. First field is going to be an About field, and it's just going to be a bunch of text explaining what this whole property is about, and I'll add it to the first 5 or so. And the next field is going to be called features, and it's going to be a string array with all the different features of the property. And I'll add this to the first 5 as well. Alright, so our properties are done for this section, so we can exit out of those. Now let's go to create a new component called black dot. So we'll go into our components folder, wherever that is, here we are, and let's just call it blackdot.tsx. So we'll import view, style sheet, and view style from React Native, and then export a component called black dot, passing in a style prop, which is optional, and it can either be view style or a view style array. And then we'll just return a view with a created styles and the passed in style. And our created styles are going to have a padding of 3, height of 3, margin top of 7, background color black, border radius of 30, and a margin right of 10. Now with this created, let's create another component called bulleted list. .tsx. For our imports, we're going to import view, style sheet, and view style from React Native, text from UIKitten, row from our local row component, and black dot, which we just created. And then we need to export our bulleted list, which will take in 3 different props. The first one is data, which will be a string array. The second one is going to be heading, which is going to be an optional string. And then the third one is going to be an optional style. So to start this component out, let's declare a new variable called rows, and we'll just assign it to an empty array. And then we need to loop through our data for the length of the data. And then for each item, we will create a new component. If the length of the data minus the current index is greater than or equal to 2, we need to assign the component to a new row which contains 2 different items, or 2 different set of texts. So the first thing we'll create is another row within this, and within that we'll have a black dot and the text of the first item, and then next to that we'll have another row with another black dot and the text of the second item. Now if this condition isn't true, then that only means that there is 1 item left, so we'll just display that 1 item. So component will be equal to a row, and then a row will be within that row, and then we'll have a black dot and the item text. And then here at the bottom we need to push that component into our rows array, and then iterate I. Now down below this we are going to return a view, and if we have a heading passed in, then we need to display that heading. We'll give it a category of S1, and underneath of that we'll map through our rows and display a view with just the item inside of that view. Now for the various styles throughout this component, let's create those. So we'll create our style sheet here. The first one will be container, which has a padding horizontal of 5 and padding vertical of 10. Next will be heading, which has a padding vertical of 8. Main row has justify content of space between and align items to flex-start. And then secondary row will have padding vertical of 5 and width of 45%. And finally black dot will have align self to flex start. Alright, now let's create a new section in our property details sections folder. We'll call it the About section. So for this, we will import view, style sheet, text, material icons, material community icons, row, property, and bulleted list. And here we need to export our about section, and it's going to take in a prop of property. Okay, now I'm going to go into property details screen and just add that underneath of this. So about section, it's going to auto import, and we will set property equal to the item. And then underneath of that, we'll put a divider with the style equal to styles.divider. And we'll save that. Now let's go back to about section. Now instead of returning an empty fragment, let's return something within that fragment. The first thing will be some text which states about. The category is H5. Next will be a row with a material icon with the name of apartment, size of 24, and color of 36454F, and some text displaying the property name. And that text will have a category of H6. And then beneath that, we will have the about text, which has a category of C1. And underneath that, we'll have the unique features. So that will be a fragment. And then within that, we'll have a row, which will have a material community icon with a name of star outline, a size of 26, and a color of black. And next to that, we'll have some text. Category is going to be H6, and it will say unique features. And then underneath that, we'll have a view. And if property.features exists, then we will have a bulleted list where the data is the property tags and the property features. Otherwise, it will just be the property tags. And for the styles, we will have a header which has a margin bottom of 15 and a margin top of 10. Apartment text will have a padding left of 10 and a margin bottom of 10. Features text will have a padding left of 10. Row has line items to center and margin top of 10. And bulleted list container has padding horizontal of 5. All right, let's check this out and make sure that it works. So here you can see that we have an about section where we can see all what the property is about and all of the unique features. Let's go to one where it doesn't have an about section. So here they don't have an about. About's going to be required whenever we do the user input, but putting that text for 25 different apartments just was a waste of time. So here you can see that we do have one unique tag, which is parking. So that's being displayed, but we don't have any unique features. Like that features array is not present for that particular property. So here's going to be another one where there's nothing. I think let's try this one. And here you can see that it's displaying 9 down here. So that is all good. All right, so that's how you guys can create the about section. Stay tuned for the video tomorrow where we will be going over the next section. And thanks for watching.